Good evening, all of you. I hope you all are doing well, taking care of yourself. We began with discussing the growth of drama as far as English literature is concerned. We have discussed it through the ages, and there were certain concepts which I introduced to you as far as literature or drama is concerned. Today, let us go ahead with the course, and as the title of your course is Modern British Drama. Now, since we are short of time, I will not go much into detail of this aspect. You will be, of course, studying it in your history paper too, right? But yes, because we'll be studying these categories of plays, that we have 4 plays which we have in our course, we will be studying that. So for you, it is very important to know that where can you adjust or set those plays into what categories of modern British drama. The 4 papers or the 4 dramas that you have in your course, where do they set in, to what categories they belong to, right? So when we talk of modern British drama, now modern British drama, always remember the time in the sense that this is your, I think I told in the last video also, this is the last decade of your 19th century and beginning of your 20th century, or let us say the 50 years of your 20th century. Okay, that covers the part of your modern British drama, which is then followed by contemporary drama, which includes the theatre of absurd, the theatre of cruelty, the theatre of protest, and many more, right? So I'll not go into that, but yes, this is your time period which is allocated the title of modern British drama. Now there are 3 distinct streams or phases, we can say, right? And the first one is the realistic drama. We know when we have studied the growth of drama, we have studied how the drama had an alternative law of tendency, how it grew, how it fell, and again how did it rise as far as the 20th the last decade of the 19th century is concerned, how it was revived by certain writers whose names I have written here, right? So these are divided into 3 categories or streams, let us say. First one is your realistic drama. When we say realistic drama, it simply means that you are trying to highlight or focus on the things that are happening around you, that are happening in the society. By you over here, I mean the dramatist, right? When I say he is a realist, his works are an example of realism. Realism simply means that the person is addressing to the problems that the society is facing. They are talking about real things. They are not romanticizing things. They are not hiding things. They are not faking things in the context of the society, right? So the first one was realistic drama, which was of course started by Henrik Ibsen, and that is why it was also called Ibsenite drama, right, from Henrik Ibsen. And of course the major concentration of the play was the social content and the social comment. It focused on the problems which existed in the society of that time. Then 2 important dramatists, Shaw and Galsworthy, are 2 important realistic dramatists. Now Shaw, of course, is one of our playwright whom we are going to study, and you will be better able to understand when we read his play, The Arms and the Man, that how he is a realistic dramatist, right? Next is the Irish National Theatre. It was obviously started by these writers, I will say, Lady Gregory and Yeats, because Yeats को आप categorize नहीं कर सकते that he's a dramatist. So these 2 are important dramatist over here, J.M. Synge and Suzanne O'Casey. Irish National Theatre. Clear? And last in this category, in this stream, is your revival of poetic drama, which was done by W.B. Yeats and T.S. Eliot, Thomas Stearns Eliot. So they revived poetic drama. Now you have a poetic drama in your course by T.S. Eliot, that is The Murder in the Cathedral, right? And why it was a revival? Because after Shakespeare, no drama of that kind was produced, right? That is why they are saying over here that it was revival of poetic drama. Clear? So these are three distinct streams that you have to keep in mind while we are reading the texts that are in our course. Okay? And also remember, from this category of drama, not specifically here I would say, there is a category of play which is called the problem plays, right? It started somewhere in France. Now this category, one category is poetic drama, the other is problem plays. This kind of plays, they were started, or you can say they were originated in France. As far as our writers are concerned, the English writers are concerned, Shaw was one great follower or one great playwright who wrote problem plays. Now problem plays are what? Again, they are realistic plays. It is realistic drama. And what this realistic play deals with? It deals with the problems of the society, what society is going through. Now if I have to add to it, I will say these were the times when the First World War had taken, the Second World War had taken, and Bernard Shaw ki baat hi karte hain in particular. Bernard Shaw, he had seen the wars, right? And what effect those wars had on the society, or it had on the minds of the people, whether we talk of the aristocratic class, whether we could talk of the working class, he knew it so well, right? And these problems or these experiences, what the people in the society faced as a result of war, or let me say also as a result of industrialization, what people were going through is what forms the basis of these problem plays, as the title says, problem plays, right? And generally what happens in problem plays, the playwright, the dramatist will always give you a solution in the end of the play. Okay? And J.B. Shaw's Arms and the Man, with which I will start with for the first, that will be our first text which I will deal with, is again a problem play by George Bernard Shaw. Okay? This much is enough for you to remember that the modern British drama can be categorized into realistic drama or into Irish. There was this National Theatre which came up, and then there was poetic drama. Okay? Let's begin with the main thing, and the main thing over here is your play Arms and the Man by J.B. Shaw. Now before venturing or beginning with the play, I would first talk about the great dramatist George Bernard Shaw. Why I am saying great? William Shakespeare को ही बोला जाता है, right? He is one of the greatest playwright who has lived till date. Indeed, isn't it? William Shakespeare is known as a universal dramatist. Why? Because his works, which he had written in the 16th century, are relevant even today. The similar thing relates to George Bernard Shaw also. He lived almost 150 years ago, right? and what works, or the content of his plays have been such that it holds relevance even today. That is what makes a playwright great. You know, therein lies his greatness, that nobody has been able to match up to his genius. So after William Shakespeare, it is George Bernard Shaw, who is known as one of the greatest dramatists as far as English drama is concerned. Right? J.B. Shaw was born in Dublin, Ireland, right, in the year 1856, right? And if I have to briefly tell you about his childhood, his parents, his family, his father was a grain merchant, right? And his mother, she was a musician. She used to sing, and his father was not having a very good business, and his father wanted him to join. He wanted Shaw to join his work, but somehow there were problems, and his work, his grain merchant business, did not flourish much. And Shaw had two sisters. His mother left his father and they moved to London, but Shaw stayed with his father. Shaw did not believe in this idea of schooling, so he self-schooled himself, and probably at the age of around I think 10 or 12 years, he started when he was almost in his 10th standard, he started working as a clerk and started doing some menial jobs, but he was not happy about what he was doing, right? So he too moved to London, and he stayed there with his mother, right? From there, you know, he started writing some pamphlets, he started writing essays, and slowly and steadily he became to be recognized as a critic, right? Critic kaun hote hain? Who you know, make a critical analysis of something. And what critical analysis J.B. Shaw was making of was the plays that were performed on the stage, or the essays that were written, the pamphlets that were written, and even music. He was a music critic also. That influence of music from his mother, of course, he got that, right? So if we have to talk the important points about J.B. Shaw and his life, is, we would say, of course, he's born in Dublin, Ireland, and he was a great critic. He was a social activist, and he was a polemicist, right? And who is a polemicist? A person who engages in controversial debates. That is what a polemicist is. He was specifically a music critic, right? And social activist. And J.B. Shaw has written almost 60 plays, right? I will again say odd, जैसे कि हम शेक्सपियर के लिए भी बोलते हैं that Shakespeare has written 38 odd plays. Odd plays, I do not know, he has written 37. I do not know whether it is 39. So 38 odd plays. So here also, this great genius, he has written around 60 plays. And his first play, he became an established writer in the year 1890. And prior to this publishing of drama or becoming successful, what J.B. Shaw was doing, he was a great critic. He was criticizing stage productions. He was giving a critical analysis. Criticizing, critic का मतलब criticism नहीं होता है. It is you are critically analyzing something, okay? And he was also a critique of essay writing, right? Then he also tried his hands in novels, but his novels failed outrightly. It was only in 1890 he started writing drama, right? And in the year 1894 came his first commercial success, and that was first commercial success, that is The Arms and the Man. Not the, but Arms and the Man. Okay, this was his first recognition as a great dramatist, right? Now, next aspect is, as I already told you, that he was a realistic dramatist. Why? Because he talked about the social problems, the problems of the society, right? And he talked about political and religious ideas. That is why he is known as a realistic dramatist. Now, his first three plays, he clubbed them into one trilogy, which he called Plays Unpleasant. Okay, this was the name of his first trilogy. By trilogy, I simply mean it included his first three plays, right? And these plays, they dealt with what? They dealt with social issues. Okay, these were his plays Unpleasant, which included Widower's House, The Philanderer, and Mrs. Warren's Profession, right? After this, the second trilogy was Plays Pleasant, and this included our play. It was the first play over here in this trilogy, Arms and the Man, Candida, and You Can Never Tell. So these were his two trilogies. Of course, after that, two trilogies mein kitne aaye plays? 6. After that, he has written a number of plays, a huge number, almost 60 plays I told you. And apart from this, what you have to remember is that he was, where should I rub? Let me rub here only. 3 important things which everybody who knows, or every student of literature must know, is that he is the only dramatist, writer to receive Nobel Prize for Literature in 1925, right? And the only, why only I'm saying, because he received the Academy Award, the great Oscar. No other writer in the history of English literature has received these 2 awards in their life. Nobel, obviously there are many who have won the Nobel Award, but Nobel as well as the Oscars, he is the only author, dramatist, playwright to receive this award for his work Pygmalion. Maybe my spellings are wrong somewhere. You would wonder that this is for movies. Yes, he produced his play into a movie, right? And that is why he was awarded the Academy Award also, right? Another thing, to his credit, J.B. Shaw has what? He is the founder ऑब्वियसली आप कहीं पढ़ोगे तो पढ़ोगे, वहाँ पे फाउंडर ऑफ फेबियन सोसाइटी भी लिखा होगा, बट व्हाट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर इज दैट ही इज द फाउंडर ऑफ लंडन स्कूल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स, लंडन स्कूल ऑफ economics. So these are the most important aspects, you know, as far as J.B. Shaw's bio, I would say, his biography is concerned. And one more thing, last thing about his plays, in the sense that what are the two important aspects that you find in his works is, again it relates to realism only, but I just want to tell you so that you know when we read Arms and the Man, आप उसके साथ उसको correlate कर पाओ. Wherein lies the genius of J.B. Shaw? It is in his theme or in his sense of humor and wit that he has used in his plays, and how he did this. He mocked. I hope you all understand, mocking is to make fun of something. So what he did, he mocked the habits of the people of his time. You know, that is how he used the wit and humor to tell or to talk about the hypocrisy of the people of his times, right? And second important aspect as far as drama is concerned is he hated social evils, and he talked against the exploitation of working class, right? So this is something which I have told you in the context of realistic drama also. But then what you have to remember, that Shaw, being a realist, he talked about the problems that that the people in his society were facing, right? And he uses the element of humor and wit in his works to bring out the hypocrisy of the people in the society, right? Now if I talk about Arms and the Man too, here also he has used wit and humor to what should I say, to make fun, mock बताया ना मैंने आपको, to make fun of the people belonging to the aristocratic society, of the people who think that war is great, war must be glorified, of romantic what we call romantic notion of marriage. You know, these are certain things which in a very witty and a humorous manner Shaw brings out in the play Arms and the Man. Okay, so this was a little bio. I did not go into much details, but yeah, I focused about what is important for you to know as far as the great writer George Bernard Shaw is concerned. You must understand why he is great, because he has a relevance even in the modern context, even in the modern times, right? Therein lies his greatness. And various achievements which of course Shaw has had is what I have discussed, right? Now next I would talk about the key points as far as the play in our course, that is Arms and the Man is concerned. Okay, so till now I don't think there should be any scope of doubt, but still if you have, you are always free to ask. You may text, you may call, right? Once I am done with the course, I will have a session, a live session with you all, right? And we will pick up and discuss any queries, any doubts related to the lectures which I will be sharing on the course. Right? Let us talk about some key facts as far as the play Arms and the Man by George Bernard Shaw is concerned. Now, first of all, it was written in the year 1894, and the setting of the play is Bulgaria, right? And though I've already mentioned this, this is first play in Shaw's trilogy, which he called what? Pleasant Plays, right? I've already told you he wrote Pleasant Plays and Unpleasant Plays, two trilogy, and Arms and the Man is the first play in this trilogy. Next, as far as the background of the play is concerned, it is the war between Bulgaria and Serbia that holds the background to the play. The main theme is love and war, right? But what is being done here, generally when authors write on love and war, they glorify love, they glorify war, right? But here what has happened, Shaw, who is known as a great realist, who has brought forth the problems of the societies, he is over here not glorifying but satirizing and condemning love as well as war. Now love, which was the, let me say, the romantic romantic notions of the people of 20th century. So that is what he's trying to tell them, that love is not that romantic part, right? Love is more than that. That is why I'm saying he was satirizing and condemning it. When I'll be discussing the play in detail, you will be able to understand it better. Next, and very important, these are just the key points, okay? We are just going to elaborate later further. And on these only, the questions as far as your play is concerned, it will be based on these key points itself, right? So, we talked about theme. Next is the title. The significance of the title is that it highlights the central theme. Apart from that, another thing which you have to remember is that this particular title, you know, it has been taken from Virgil's Aeneid. And this work by Virgil is an epic of war and adventure. Okay, and this was translated into English by the great writer John Dryden, and the first lines, the very opening lines of this epic have been taken by by Bernard Shaw as the title of the play. And what were the opening lines? Arms and the man I sing, who forced by fate, then it continues, okay? But what you have to remember is that this is the opening line. The title of the play are the opening lines of the poem, which was written by Aeneid and was later translated into English by John Dryden. This is what you have to remember, and you have to keep in mind, generally when we talk of drama, the title is of very great significance, and here the title is very, very significant because it is highlighting the central theme. Arms, war, man, love. Arms again relates to love, you know, arms, the weapons, again relates to war. So somehow through the title, the dramatist, the playwright, is trying to highlight the significant or the central theme of the play. Clear? Then, as you have also studied dramas in past, you must have studied about the basics of drama. When we study the structure of drama, we always talk about the acts that are there in drama. So this play is a small play, a short play, which is divided into only 3 acts, right? And all the 3 unities of what? Unity of time, unity of place, and unity of action have been followed, right? Now these are our key points as far as Arms and the Man is concerned. We will be dwelling our study, our analysis of the play on these important key points. Okay, I hope you got my point. You have to remember all this. Only then you will be able to develop an understanding as far as the play is concerned. Since you are in third semester, I hope you are told that anything, any work which is in the form of a book is underlined. That is why in it I underlined the title of the play, right? But if I am talking about, say for example, a short story, The Gift of the Magi, I will not underline it. Now what will I do? I will put it in double inverted commas. And we do not fiddle, we do not do anything to the name of the writer. Remember this. Neither it is in the uppercase totally, neither it is underlined, neither it is put it in inverted commas. So these are tricks of the trade. Remember them, right? So next, let us move on to the details of the play. Let us talk about the characters. Let us talk about the 3 acts that are there in the play. So here are the characters in the play Arms and the Man. So the first and the most important man that Shaw brings forth is Bluntschli, right? And Bluntschli is the protagonist of the play, and he is also known as, by some writers, that he is Shaw's anti-hero, right? Now since I have talked to you about realism of Shaw, right, he has in a way broken all the notions, you know, of what real romance is about, what real lover is all about, and what real hero is all about. That is why it is said that Bluntschli is Shaw's anti-hero. He doesn't possess those qualities that a hero has to have, right? He is very natural, very real, and there is nothing fake about him, right? And he is a Swiss soldier, right? Next character is Sergius Saranov. He is a Bulgarian soldier, and he is kind of called Shaw's romantic hero. Bluntschli is around 34, 35 is his age, right? And he is a Swiss mercenary soldier. Now please remember, who are mercenary soldiers? They are professional soldiers, right? And they do not fight for what? Patriotism. Rather, they fight for money. Okay? When I have discussed with you the key points of the play, I told you that the background of the play is the Bulgarian-Serbian war, right? And Bluntschli's role over here is that he belongs to none of the Bulgarians or the Serbians. He is a Swiss soldier, and he is simply being part of the war for the sake of money, right? Sergius Saranov is, of course, he's another important Bulgarian soldier, and he is a romantic hero of Shaw. He is around, I can't find his age, okay, but his appearance, he's tall, romantically handsome, and he's in the Bulgarian army. He believes in traditional ideas of love and war. That is why he is Shaw's romantic hero. And about next, I'll just tell you once. Let me talk about Raina. Raina, the heroine of the play, Raina Petkov. This Petkov family is kind of an what should I say, aristocratic Bulgarian family, right? And in those times it was believed that Russia was a highly developed country, and the aristocracy of other countries somehow looked upon to them, right? And this too is, they may not be wealthy in real, but they have this fear that they may not be less wealthy. They have to show themselves, Petkovs की बात कर रही हूँ मैं. These Petkovs, they have to show that we are a highly sophisticated aristocratic Bulgarian family. This is also very evident in the way the play opens in the very first act, how the opening place, that is the bedroom of Raina Petkov, has been described, how things are placed there. Okay, I'll talk about it when I talk about the act. So, but what you have to remember over here about this family is that they are aristocratic Bulgarian family. Her father, Major Petkov, is again a Bulgarian soldier who's working with, he's in the Bulgarian army and he's a major. And her mother is Catherine Petkov. She is over 40 and she's energetic, imperious, and she belongs to aristocratic family, and she's proud of this fact. And so is Major Petkov. He's Catherine's husband. Okay, he's around 50. He's cheerful, excitable person. His position in the army is because of his social standing. Otherwise, he has no military ambitions. Okay, so with each and every character, somehow what Shaw is doing, Shaw is bringing forth the romantic notions of war as well as of love. How love, they both are engaged. Okay, prior to the war took place, they both were engaged, betrothed to each other, and through their story, through their love story, sorry, Shaw is trying to tell us that how false the romantic idea behind love is, right? It cannot be merely spiritual, it cannot be merely platonic. The real love is beyond much, not just it is platonic or spiritual love, right? So they both are engaged. Next is Lauka. I wrote Lauk, this is Lauka and Nicole. They are the two servants in Petkov's family, right? And she is the maid servant in the house, and she plays a very, very significant role, right? Being a maid servant, her, all through the play, when we will study the play, you will find that she doesn't consider herself a servant. Shaw has presented her more like an ambitious person, more of a, he has presented her to be strong and ambitious, right? And the opposite is Nicola, the middle-aged man's servant, and he has the ambition to set up himself as a shopkeeper. But this character by Shaw, he represents his thought as far as what I told you in the beginning when I was talking about two important things which are there in Shaw's plays, that he talks about exploitation of the working class. And over here, through them, of course, the exploitation has been shown, but then he has portrayed one maid servant character so strong that she has the ambition, to reach out to something big. And slowly and steadily events so happen that by the end of the play you'll find that Lauka is marrying Sergei Saranov. So see her heights of ambition, the kind of class division that she shows, and the class struggle, how she struggles enough, or whether she is using witty means or she is using good means. We will see that in the play, but then she is shown as a very powerful character by J.B. Shaw. Okay, so these are your important characters, the main characters as far as Arms and the Man is concerned, right? Next, let us talk about the acts, and with the acts I will give you a brief introduction to what the play is all about, right? I think you must have read this, that a play always has a structure. चाहे हम 1 act play की बात करें, 3 act plays की बात करें, 5 act plays की बात करें, a play always has a structure, right? And what that structure comprises of is, comprises of exposition followed by your complication, which is followed by the climax or crisis, followed by the falling action, and finally what we call denouement or what, resolution. Okay, this is how the structure of any play is formulated by a dramatist. Now, as far as Arms and the Man is concerned, Act 1 is the exposition. Exposition is nothing but the introduction of the main characters, of the main events that are gonna take place in the play. That is what exposition is. Act 2 is your complication, because we said that Arms and the Man is a problem play, right? And it is a problem play का another name जो शायद मैंने पहले नहीं बताया, drama of ideas. The problems, the complications, the conflicts, all these things take place in Act 2, right? And in Act 3, everything settles down, and that is your denouement. Whereas herein is your resolution, in the sense that everything gets settled. Characters have grown, they have got to know what wrong notions about love and marriage and war they were having, and they also learned, they also grew, how a character grows. Of course, not in size or weight. The character grows here in his thought, right? There are characters who eventually realize that what they had been doing, and Raina Petkov is one best example, who realized that her notion of love was merely romantic, right? But when she finds love in Bluntschli, then she realizes where she was wrong. Okay? So these are the 3 acts, and in this way Shaw has organized his play, right? Now, next important aspect as far as the structure of the play is concerned are your unities, So, what are the 3 unities? Unity of place, unity of action, and unity of time. So when we write our answers, obviously we will say that all the three unities have been followed by GB Shaw. GB Shaw. As far as place is concerned, how we say that unity of place has been adhered to or followed. The action takes place at one particular setting, one particular place. Setting to Bulgaria, remember that, okay? The place over here is the Petkov's house. This is your unity of place. मैं लिख देती हूँ आप ताकि confuse ना हो, right? Next is your unity of action. There is a single action, which means there are no subdivision, there is no subplot. There is just one main plot around which the story revolves. I hope you must be knowing the difference between a story and a plot. What do we say? We say that there was a king and a queen. The king died. एक था राजा एक थी रानी, दोनों मर गए, खत्म कहानी, right? So this is your story. There was a king and a queen. The king died, right? And the queen died of grief is your plot. Okay? When the what we call cause and effect relationship, you know, that sets in, उसे हम plot कहते हैं, right? And here we have a single plot that is going on as far as J.B. Shaw's play Arms and the Man is concerned. Now, as far as time is concerned, generally unity of time कब होती है? When the play finishes in a single day. But here you find that there is a lapse. Lapse in the sense that here the first act begins with the Bulgarian War, as I'm again and again telling you, and it starts in November 1885, right? But these two acts, they are set or they begin, Act 2 begins in 6 March 1886. So almost how much? A lapse of 4 months can be seen as far as the unities are concerned. Okay, so this is the main aspect as far as the structure of your play is concerned. Now, if I have to briefly give you a small summary, or not the summary, let me say the story outline of the play, how it goes about. You know, when the play begins, as the play begins, I told you exposition. Here the characters are introduced and the main action is also introduced over here. So this play so this play, it begins in the fall. You know how the Act 1 opens. It opens in the fall of 1885 during the Serbo-Bulgarian War. Now, what you have to remember here, generally when a play has a background, you know, when a play has a background, then we say that on that background the play develops, right? But here, obviously, this is a historical background. But then, this play, we will not say it forms the development of the play, right? It is only an event with which the play has started, and maybe Shaw took this to focus or to elaborate upon the theme or upon the idea which he wanted to bring forth through the play Arms and the Man. Now, if I read in your books, this is just a historical background, but you will not call Arms and the Man a historical play. So it says, in September 1885, the regent of Bulgaria, that is Prince Alexander I, he led a revolt of Romelia against Serbia. The Serbs declared war against Bulgaria in November and were defeated. Now when the play is starting, the war is already over, right? And who has won? The Bulgarians have won, right? And the Serbs have lost. And another thing to the story, another thing to the event is this. Defeated, I repeat again, the Serbs, they declared war and were badly defeated, and in the Battle of Slivnica, this was the place where the battle was taking place. I'll just write it for your information. Of course, you'll be having in your books Nitza, Slivnica, between November 17 and 19. Later, owing to Austrian pressure, peace was signed on 3rd March. During this war, the Austrian officers led the Serbs while the Russians commanded the Bulgarian troops, right? The practice of using mercenary soldiers, ये इस पे आना चाह रही थी मैं, दो मैं आपको already बता चुकी हूँ. Sorry, that Bluntschli, he was the Swiss soldier. He was being paid by the Serbians to fight against the Bulgarians. वो mercenary soldiers होते हैं, right? So, the practice of using mercenary soldiers was quite common during those days. Captain Bluntschli, a Swiss, fights on the Serbian side without any patriotic motive. So, and later he tells Raina, I wish for your sake I had joined the Bulgarian army instead. This will be clear when you know the story. Thus, the reference to the war in Shaw's play is historical, but then it is not a historical play. There is just a reference that has been given in the play. Now, remember this. Now, the play begins with this, right? And if you read this, when you read the text, you will find that the play begins with the description of the protagonist room where the first play is set. First act, sorry, not the play, right? And that is Raina's bedroom. This is the setting of first act. Now, what has happened? Of course, Shaw was a great man who, a great stage perfectionist who gave great descriptions. Let me just read out. It would be good for you to just listen how he has described the setting, The scene opens in a lady's bedroom in a small town near Dragoman Pass in Bulgaria. I've already told you the setting is Bulgaria. It is Raina's bedroom. It is late in November in the year 1885. The shutters of the bedroom open in the balcony. There is a water pipe close to the balcony and it descends into the street. The furniture in the room is curious mixture of cheap and expensive variety. This is something that shows things that are cheap, things that are expensive are somehow a copy of the Russian aristocracy. It is kind of furniture not seen in Western Europe. The time is that of night, moon is shining brightly, and from the balcony the view of the distant snow-covered Balkan mountains can be seen. Then how Shaw introduced Raina. Raina, the heroine, is standing in the balcony when the curtain rises. She is enjoying the beauty of November night. She is conscious that her own youth and beauty are part of surroundings. She's wearing her nightgown, over which she has thrown her long cloak of furs. This cloak is worth thrice the cost of furniture in her room. She is gazing at the distant snow-covered Balkan mountains. She is lost in her reverie. She's dreaming, which is strengthened by the beauty of the night. The setting corresponds suitably enough with Raina's romantic ideas and posture. Now, what or who is Raina thinking about at this time is his fiancé, that is Sergius Saranov, right? And the situation is this, that the war is over, right? But what has happened, that the Serbian soldiers, right, they have run away. And the Bulgarian soldiers are running after them. They are looking for them. They are trying to find them because they have to kill them, as Bulgarians are victorious in the war. Now when the play opens, she's standing on a balcony, daydreaming, not daydreaming, but in a reverie, thinking about her lover, romance and everything, right? And suddenly her mother comes up and she says that, I thought you must be sleeping, it's too late in the night. So she says, I will sleep off, mother, you don't worry, you go. And at the same time, Lauka, who is she? The maidservant. She comes in and she tells the mother and the daughter that please shut all the doors and the windows of the house, as we just got to know that some Serbian soldiers, they have run away, and the Bulgarian soldiers, they are trying to find them and they will kill them. So make sure that your rooms, your windows are closed, your doors and windows are closed, and so that nobody enters into our house, no Serbian soldier. So immediately Catherine, Raina's mother, she moves out to check that everything in the house is closed. And Lauka, she tells Raina that if you don't want to close one window, you may leave it little open, because otherwise also it doesn't take the bolt, right? She tells Raina all this, and Lauka also leaves. As she is standing and gazing, suddenly somebody jumps into her balcony and enters in, right? And who is that? That is Bluntschli. And Bluntschli is who? He is the Swiss soldier. Now she's scared, she's worried, and immediately he shows her gun, that I will kill you if you try to tell anybody that I am here. So she says, no problem, it is okay, I will not tell anybody. And suddenly there is a knock on the door, and he immediately, what he does is he picks up her cloak, the cloak which she was wearing on her nightgown, and she says that if you will not, I don't want you to tell people or the soldier who are knocking at your door of a house, you should not tell them that I am here, or I will not give you the, I will kill you. So she says, it's okay, I will not tell about you, you don't worry. And as she's going, he stops her. That he says that, please stop and take your cloak. He says, cloak is a woman's cloak is a better weapon than gun. And he gives her the cloak because he doesn't want that the soldiers should see her in her nightgown without the cloak on. And she goes, Bulgarian soldiers enter in, they check her room, she has hidden him behind the curtain, so they do not find him, and they finally leave. Now what happens here is that, and when they leave, she sits down, and then by mistake she sits on the gun which he was showing her, right? And she says, I will shoot you. He says, you can. He says, are you not afraid? He says that I am not afraid of dying because I am carrying a gun which has no cartridge. And she's surprised to hear this. She says, bluntly, he says, I do not carry cartridges to the war. What I carry chocolate and candies, because as far as war is concerned, weapons are not important. What is important? Food is important. So through this, Shaw is breaking the notions of what we call war. The bravery, the idealism, everything that is related to war. Moreover, we know that Bluntschli is what? He is a mercenary soldier. He has nothing to do with patriotism. He is only fighting for an army for the sake of money, right? So through his character, Shaw is condemning war, right? Now, in this particular act, certain things happen and certain aspects as far as the war is concerned is revealed to Raina. He learns that, he tells her that there was a foolish captain and he jumped in front of the Serbian camp, right? And it was merely an accident that that captain was not shot dead by the Serbian army, because the ammunition which Serbian army had taken was not working. There was an accident by mistake. Somehow those ammunition did not work. But by chance, if their ammunition had worked, if their weapon had worked, that captain had himself fallen into hell. They would have shot him dead in no time. That was his foolishness. He doesn't deserve to be in the army. You fight, obviously you have to save yourself, but then you just do not jump into anything. And then she realizes that somehow he is talking about Sergius Saranov, right? And as the play, the act comes to an end, there are certain notions about war which Raina had are totally changed after meeting this man Bluntschli. And she also gets to know about her man who is not as brave as he was supposed to be, since he is in the army. For even when I told you about Major Petkov, what I told you, that he is not in the army for patriotism, he is in army for the reason of class, right, for aristocracy. And for the sake of aristocracy only, they have chosen this person as Raina's fiancé, right? So this is how the main action has been introduced in the very first act, and almost all the characters have been introduced here. Next, the complication, the problems begin here. Now what or how the problems have started over here is when they return home. Now this play, this act, obviously, this I told you, ये कब शुरू होता है? It begins in the fall of 1885 and this begins in the spring of 1886, and the setting is Garden of Petkovs. Okay. Now what happens here? How the complications or how the problems takes place. Now Major Petkov, Raina's father, he's aware of everything, that how foolish Sergius Saranov appeared in the war, how he behaved in the war. So obviously He was expecting a promotion, but because of the behavior or because of the action that he showed in the war, he would definitely be demoted, right? So in that fear, what he has done, in that fear, he has resigned from the army. Sergius Saranov, okay? Because he had no option. Definitely, he will not get a promotion for the foolish act that he performed during the war, right? But definitely he will be demoted. So to avoid that demotion, he already presents his resignation. He has no choice. Now this is one concern for Petkov, Major Petkov and Catherine Petkov, father and mother of Raina, that what will happen now? What do we, or what can we do about the our daughter? You know, how things will take place. Now, as the Act 2 was closing, remember one thing I forgot to tell you, that here Catherine, Raina's mother, Raina and Raina's mother, they helped Bluntschli to escape their house, right? And while escaping, while they were sending him off from their house, they gave him a what? A coat of their father, of Major Petkov. And when this act starts, in the middle, this man comes back, Bluntschli, to return that coat. Okay? And Petkovs, all three Petkovs, the Petkov family, Raina and mother and father, they are happy to welcome Bluntschli to their house, right? And what happens is, Raina, she's so excited to see him that he calls him, oh my chocolate cream soldier. Huh? So this is how she mentions him, and the way he talks, the way she talks to him and about him is something which is being noticed by Lauka, right? And taking advantage, Lauka the servant, the maid servant, taking advantage of this thing that Raina is developing feeling for Bluntschli, Lauka tells him, and you will see at places when the Act 2 begins, we are already shown that this man has been flirting with Lauka the servant, right? And slowly and steadily, as she learns about Raina's feelings towards Bluntschli, she all the more makes efforts that Sergius starts loving her, or she's somehow able to get married to him, because that would definitely add to her social status, right? So these are the problems which arise over here, which arise, or which Shaw has talked about in the Act 2, right? Various kind of issues, whether it is related to this relationship, whether it is related to this relationship, whether it is related to this relationship. Okay, so all this is happening here. And one more thing, these two people, these two servants, they are already engaged, right? But then as she finds, what she says is that I want to rise in life, she tells Nicola. So he says, okay, it's okay. And she says, I know many secrets about Petkovs. So Nicola says that I will never cheat my masters, right? And for this reason, yet another reason, she finds that she has to kick out this man and she has to be with this man when she learns about what is going on over here. Now, as the Act 3 begins, when the problems start resolving, what happens is the love between the two lovers is revealed. They both want to marry each other, but then parents have concerns, right? Aristocratic family, how will they marry a person, marry their daughter to a Swiss soldier who is not earning anything? But then they are so glad to learn that Bluntschli's father passes away, and he has left him a huge incestuous hotel which entirely belongs to him. So he has eventually become a rich man after the death of his father. And Bluntschli is such a person that he promises Nicola that he will take him in as his manager to manage all the hotels of his father. Okay, so this is how, or this is what is the storyline, and through the actions of various characters and through the various dialogues of the characters, ultimately Shaw is focusing on the realistic problems of what war is all about, what romantic notions of love are there, even marriage for that matter. At the beginning we see how she is living in the the fantasy world of love with this major, with this Captain Sergius, right? And suddenly when she meets this man, how her love changes, suddenly the notion changes. And this Bluntschli only makes an effort, I would not say makes an effort, but through when she learns that he carries chocolates and he's not working for patriotism, he's working for money, those notions of bravery as far as war is concerned is all shattered, And what happens is, through these events and actions of various characters, Shaw has, what should I say, critically condemned war as such, right? And he has also condemned the romantic notion of love. Okay, so these are the basics as far as the storyline, as far as the key points, as far as what the play Arms and the Man is all about, right? Now you listen and rewind and again listen to what I'm talking about, and then read your text, right? Because we hardly have less than a month's time to complete our course. It will not be feasible to read the text. Yes, let's see if things get postponed, then of course we will read the whole text, but presently we will work in this manner only. Okay, now your task is take 2 days and read the whole text, and I will come back with detailed analysis of important aspects as far as the play is concerned. Okay, so with this, that's all. Any doubts, most welcome. That is all. We will continue. Thank you so much. Do read, please. Do read, do write. I have talked so much. I have written around 20 pages to talk so much. When you are PG students, obviously you will pursue your what do we call the PhD or your MPhils, and you will also be appearing for NET. So लिखने की आदत डाल लो. When you will write, only then it will produce, the thoughts gonna come quickly. Jotting down is very important. When I was a student, then also I used to jot down things. Otherwise, वो क्या बोलते हैं, overhead parachutes, they go. So when you read, keep scribbling, keep jotting down things, right? They stay in your mind, and when you try to speak up, they come to your mind, and even when you write your answers, things do come back to you. Okay, literature is not about mugging up. Literature is all about understanding. Okay, so here also we have to understand very few concepts, nothing complicated over here. There will be only 2 or 3 detailed topics which we will be focusing on, but then do not ignore the text. Okay, read the text and write your stuff, whatever you understand, and write your questions. I mean your doubts. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.